notes. Okay. All right, so you ask, kind of the basics of what is leadership North Fulton, and a lot of this information we also have on our website as well. So it's typically a class of 30 to 35 leaders in the community who want to make a difference, promote community awareness and what's going on in North Fulton, instill civic responsibility, and then obviously build relationships and connections with other leaders as well. It's the region's signature leadership program, so it's been around for over 30 years, and that it includes close to 1,000 alumni participants. So it started in the late 1980s. So if you think about that, a lot of people have gone through this program, including myself, and I can share that experience as well as a participant, and then also leading the program as too. And one of the main aspects, including our class days, which we'll kind of go over a little bit as well, but one of the main aspects is that the group puts together and does a community project, and they partner up with our nonprofits. So they decide what to choose, who to choose for that project. And there's a few examples here. If you're familiar with the Drake House, they were formed from Leadership North Fulton, as well as their Young Professionals Council that was formed about, I guess it was 5 years ago. And that's when I went through the program, that there's a founding of that council. Last year, they did the Lionheart Life Center garden that Lalitha and Jeff can share a little bit about as well. And then the Emerging Leaders Program, which is one of our programs here at the Chamber for the sophomores and juniors in high school. So the dates, just this is also on our website, but just as you can see, we have classes once a month, and they're typically on the third Thursday. If for some reason they're not, then we do let the classmates know way in advance if we have to reschedule, if there's a program or something that we have here at the Chamber. But typically they stay blocked in those dates. So you see there's an orientation. There is a kickoff retreat that we have that we go to Amicalola Falls Lodge, do like a whole day Thursday overnight, whole day class day on Friday. And then we have classes once a month until June when we have our graduation. So attendance is mandatory. Sometimes things come up, so we understand that emergencies come up and there's things we can't help, but overall attendance is mandatory for these class days, and really to feel cohesive and a part of the program with the rest of the class. So asking yourself the question, why should I apply for Leadership North Fulton? And that's a great question. If you're looking for a program with other like-minded individuals that want to make a difference in North Fulton, then this is the program for you, kind of sharing that same mission. You're looking to go professionally and personally. So it's not only you're looking just for professional contacts, but maybe you want to grow personally as well, kind of learn more about yourself. We do an extensive personality type assessment for our retreat that we really have 2 days of training with a professional that goes through, how we communicate, how we work with others, things, how we manage people. And so it's a professional growth experience, but also a personal growth experience. And I'm sure that anyone you ask, including Lalitha and Jeff, can, share that as well. You want to get more involved in North Fulton. So you want to make a difference. You want to see the opportunities to, any civic issues, any nonprofit opportunities and awareness of, the healthcare opportunities going on with Wellstar, North Fulton, or Emory. So you just want to kind of know what are the things going on in the area that I live and or work in. And there's a great opportunity for that. You want to push yourself and step out of your comfort zone. So there's a lot of opportunities to really be challenged when you get a group of 30 to 35 people, you're maybe not, thinking on the same page about things. So it really gives you an opportunity to step out of your comfort zone and challenge yourself a little bit. And you want to build connections and relationships in North Fulton. So if you're new here, you've been here for like 10 plus years, you want to continue to build those connections and network within North Fulton community. So some examples of class days. This is just me looking back at this past year and kind of what we had planned, not giving too much away, but an opportunity for you to see what we're doing. So we have a lot of opportunities to meet with the mayors. Particularly, we had the government day in Milton, so we met with the Milton mayor. You learn about new technology and healthcare, options in North Fulton. So we'll have a whole tour and day at Wellstar in May for this year's class. We go through a poverty simulation with North Fulton Community Charities. So we really kind of understand and learn that there is poverty here right in our backyard, and what nonprofits are doing about it. Learning about the public safety in North Fulton. We have a whole day working with the Alpharetta and public safety over at Rapstick. We learned about arts and culture in North Fulton. So we got a tour and visited City Springs Theater in Sandy Springs and saw their whole new City Springs area, which is really cool. We engage with nonprofits and learn about board training. So we're big on partnering up with nonprofits and what we can do to help them. We sit down with key economic development leaders to discuss the future of North Fulton economic and talent development and what's going on in each of our cities. And we speak with the Fulton County Schools Superintendent about the future of education in North Fulton. And we also talk about the higher education opportunities and experts on that as well, and much, much more. So I didn't want to give too much away, but kind of highlighting, the things that we're doing and have done so far this year. Okay, so like I said, that was a quick overview because I don't want to bore you with a whole presentation of PowerPoints, not giving opportunity to ask questions. So I am going to quickly turn it over to my co-chairs for this year. So that's Letha and Jeff. And starting with Letha, just to share her experience as being a participant in class of 2022, and if she wants to share a little bit about being a co-chair.
Okay, sure. So thanks, Margaret, for giving me this opportunity to be able to share my experiences in, both positions, I guess. So as a participant, first as a class participant, what I really enjoyed about being in an LNF class was the amount of growth that I experienced in so many facets that was not all expected. The reason I joined the LNF program, or applied, I should say, for the LNF program, was because I'd heard about all of these different leadership programs that people offer, and I wasn't sure which chamber offered a really good one that would be worth it for me. And so I asked around at that time, so I'm an attorney. So I asked around at the law firm where I was practicing at that time, and they first, straight off the bat, said, if you're going to join a chamber, join GNFCC, but also really think about joining their LNF program. Several of them had been participants in the past, and they highly recommended it. So I began looking into it to see, well, why would I join? What would it do? And mind you, I came to Atlanta right as COVID began, March 2020. So I knew people on a personal level through family connections, but in like a professional setting and that type of setting, I really didn't know anybody. And so I said, this might be a nice opportunity for me to just meet people in my community. I get involved in nonprofits, so maybe I can do something to help in our community, and that's why I joined. In joining, it was so much more than I expected. I didn't realize that it wasn't just about meeting new people in the community where I build strong connections, but I also got to learn so much more about the Atlanta community as a whole. From the first class, when we talked about, all of these charts and presentations in the beginning, but all of these demographics and so many things about, like you just mentioned, the poverty, that's faced in different communities, and just there's so much that's hidden that we don't know about. And I really got to open my eyes and see all of it. And that's what I really appreciated from joining LNF. So I felt that it gave me personal growth because of that. It gave me growth in terms of learning about my community, which was new to me, but I don't think I would have learned much of that on my own anyway, even if I'd been here for 5-6 years. So if nothing else, maybe I learned it a lot faster. And so I feel more, not just welcome, but like I really feel connected now to the community. And of course, it increases your network. The people that you're with in your program, you really get to know them. That's the great thing about the retreat. I think that's another part of this program that I love. The retreat really makes you comfortable around the people that you're going to be with throughout the year in a faster way. Because you're in a little bit more of a casual setting, doing so many different types of get to know you activities while you are learning about each other's personalities through what she was talking about. There's a bit of a personality type of test that you take, and you learn a lot about yourself, you learn about others, you learn about communication with others. So there was just a lot to be learned. Just within that first retreat itself, I came away super excited, calling some of my friends and my parents to say, wow, I did not imagine that this was going to be like this. I'm really excited what this year will unfold with. So that was my experience as a class member. And then I had the fortunate opportunity to also now get to be a co-chair with Jeff, with whom, by the way, I cannot ask for a better co-chair. But yeah, Jeff and I have had this great opportunity to be co-chairs for this class. And the reason I accepted it, or I was excited about it, was because I'm going to now get to see a lot of similar programming. It's not exactly the same repeat. Of course, it has a lot of similarities, but I get to experience that now with a whole new class and with a new perspective. So sometimes, having done this whole program once, you can sit back and digest it in a deeper level because you've already learned some of it, right? And so now those basics are already in my mind, but now when you hear things, it gets reinforced, and things you missed, you now see it, And so I feel that I got to see it with a fresh pair of eyes this time when I got to be a part of the program. Also, of course, there's the part about helping be a part of improving the program, right? Every year, this programming is becoming better and better. And that's because of surveys that are given out at the end of each class to find out what is it that the class likes, what is it that they didn't like, what would they like to see more of. And so we get to sit with Margaret and say, hey, some classmates are saying this or saying that, and this is what's working. And so she gets to improve this program for the following year even further. So there's no doubt that when you come in, you are having the best version of the program. So yeah, that's my experience.
Thank you, Lolitha. And just to point out too, just the whole idea of connection. And I believe that most of y'all, I think all of y'all are members of the chamber. So you already know that we're well connected within the chamber, the more events you go to, meet people, but even out in the community, now, we've had days at the different, with different leaders, and just to know if there is somebody we need to contact or call, like we've made that connection. And it's not just within our group, but also out in the community, and opportunities for nonprofits and who's there that we can contact if we want to look for volunteer opportunities and that kind of thing. So connecting is a key word. So I appreciate you sharing your experience. And I also could say that y'all are great co-chairs. So they won't brag on themselves, but I'll brag on them for them. They are amazing. And, like she said, just continuing to try to make the program better each year, based on the feedback we get is kind of our goal. So each year it does get better. So thank you, Lolitha, for sharing. Jeff, would you like to share just your experience as a class participant and a co-chair?
I definitely would. So I'm going to show you my image real fast, just so you see I really am here, but then it's going to scramble. So I don't want to mess any of you up by looking at that. Who knows what it's going to do to your eyes? So there. In any event, I am really here. Likewise with what Lalitha said, and it's very interesting because Lalitha and I connected very quickly in the group, as we did with a lot of the individuals. I think we all like to think that our group was unique, and every group kind of says that, but we did have some really, really strong dynamics. We like to sit back and think that we worked very well together. Everybody seemed to have a voice, everybody cared. We talk about being engaged and being there, and not just showing up and being a participant, but being active and sharing your comments and asking questions. This is an open forum, and we really are encouraging that. And all of the members, if you really want to get your value out of it, you get out of it what you put into it. And that's like anything. It's not a matter of joining the chamber, for instance, and saying, okay, now I joined, what are you going to do for me? It's really a give and take. And I had the opportunity that when I first moved to Georgia back in October of 19, and I'm with Mercer University. So we already had a presence here, not a real strong presence, but we wanted to re-engage. And I think from that very first month that I was here, I attended an event through the Chairman's Circle and part of the Wellstar Lunches. And I was just enamored with the background and the talent of the individuals who were there that were participating in these events, not to mention the content of the events that were being presented. And as I started going to other events like the executive roundtables and the soiree, after hours, I realized there was another opportunity. I moved here from Kansas, and I wanted to join the Manhattan, Kansas leadership group, and I've got a little bit of maturity on me, and for whatever reason, the group looked at me there and they thought, well, you're connected, but we really are looking at younger people. And I was very disappointed. So I really didn't think that this was going to be something that was available to me. And when we asked the question, they said, absolutely, we're looking for people with a variety of experience. So regardless of your age, your background, how many years you've been in an industry or what you've done, you all have something to contribute. And the beauty of our group is that, and I talk about our group from last year and this group from this year, it is a cross section. It really is a melting pot. And I think that helps to strengthen what everyone brings to the table at that point as well. So, I don't want to duplicate a lot of what Lalitha and Margaret said, but we are a very caring group. We want everyone to be involved, but we want them to enjoy. Maybe Lalitha and I, become that buffer for the leadership group, that if they want to share something with us that maybe they aren't comfortable sharing with the chamber, that gives them that reach to us. We are there all the time. We are there to help, but we're not there to take over what's going on with the day-to-day. I like to think of my role now as becoming more of a mentor. I've had a few years out there working, and I've enjoyed what I've done at the chamber, and I've been to a number of chamber events at different places. This group really has it. And the leadership group, as Lalitha has said, is continuing to refine what the content is, what the programming is, and finding other ways that we can improve. So every month, everyone is asked to submit an evaluation of how the program went. We take those very seriously. One of the comments that was going on at the last one that was that too cold in the room. Not a lot that everyone can do about it, but it's things that we listen to, and we will make sure that we address that the next time. Doesn't take away from what the event was, but it was something that came up. So it is something that again, I will say you get out of it what you put into it. It's not just going to come to you, but definitely be engaged.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. And I'll just echo again that I appreciate y'all's support, and y'all are wonderful co-chairs. So a lot to live up to for next year for sure. All right, so I'm going to open the floor, and just if you have any questions, this is your time to ask. With it being a smaller group, we have opportunity for anyone really to ask questions. So does anyone want to start off with anything?
Yeah, so I'll start, Margaret.
Okay.
So I understand there's 30 to 35 approximate in the class, right? Is there ever a maximum? Does it ever sell out? Does it, I mean, is 40 the number? Tell me a little bit more about that class size.
Yeah, so, we have applications come through. The deadline is April. So depending on how many we receive, now we might get 50, 60 applications. So the committee will go through the applications, kind of look and see, based on what they're looking for. And sometimes it kind of naturally narrows itself down. I just started with the chamber last June, and I think we had probably like 35 initially that had applied, and we're kind of in that first group of we've gotten all their information, their application, but then they change jobs, or they end up moving, or something happens and they can't make that commitment. And so it typically, like right now, our class size is 27, but it did start with 28. And then right before we started the retreat, we had a couple more that dropped off for unforeseen circumstances. So if we end up having a lot of applications, we do have a selection committee that will go through, and the good, when you're in a program like this, you don't want to get too large.
Well, that was my point, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it blew up to 75, then all of a sudden, I don't think it means as much as
Exactly.
30, right?
Yeah.
So that was where the question was phrased from. So
Yeah. I would say 35 is definitely a high cap for that as well. So the magic number, I've talked with Callie about this before as well, but I think it's around between 30 to 35 is having a solid group. When you get more than that, I feel like there's not opportunities, to connect with the other classmates. Especially when you do a project, it gets, people, this from being in school and college, but some people might kind of drop off a little bit, and not be as involved. And so the engagement is super important for this type of program. And so we want to keep that around that number. Yeah.
I think Sean had a question.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. Yeah, just the application process, what does that look like? Is it just something you fill out, or what does that look like?
Great. So the application, we have a link on our website, and we also have been sending it on the chamber link emails as well. But the application link can be found on our website. So it's an application, kind of goes through, asks, why you're applying, what you're looking to get out of it, kind of your role now, and, your career and what you do now, the responsibilities you might have. And then once we receive those applications, we do have like a committee of people that go through them and look through and just kind of make sure like this person sounds really interested and they're serious about the program. And then typically we would notify, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, but probably late spring, they would know. So it wouldn't be a prolonged process of several months, but I would say that by June 1st, I would have reached out to most of the people and maybe even before then. So maybe sometime in May. Because based on what we receive, we'll need some time to look through it. But then my kind of goal would be to have all of that sent out before June and the summertime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other
So
questions?
are there any, like, what's the cost involved? Is it some kind of a monthly due, or what about the retreats? You know, I haven't even been on to the website to even
Sure.
really check the application process, so.
Yeah. So the fee is 2,000 for members, and then it's 2,500 for non-members. And that includes everything. So, oh, thank you, Lolita. So that includes like the retreat, that includes the food, like lunch. I mean, we provide lunch for you every class day. So there's really no other out of cost expenses. And you know, there might, you know, if there's things that we're not going to ever add anything like throughout the program. So that flat rate is for the entire program. It includes snacks during the day as well. So, but definitely food, everything for the retreat, orientation, and all the class days will be included.
Yeah, and so I just put up the website there if you want to click on that, or the application form as well.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
I'll
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks.
let's see. I'm gonna just share just so you can see where to go on the website, because sometimes it can get kind of confusing. So you go on our main page, gnfcc.com, and then you'll go under business development, and right here, Leadership North Fulton is one of our programs. So click on that. And then you can just scroll down. It's a lot of content, but it'll tell you a little bit more about the program, the purpose, the curriculum. So we skim through a lot of that, but you can see those are the different types of class days we might have. And then it lists right here our current class chairs and class members. So if you're just curious, like who's in the program now, and you know, who are they working for, what type of career do they have, you can go through and kind of see these are all the people. So it's really a wide variety. We have corporate, we have educational, we have small business, nonprofits. I mean, it's all across the board. So you can see our class now, and then you'll see our application link right here. So you can click on that and that'll take your application. And then this is the current class schedule. So that's not correct, but on the application, it will have the class days for next year.
Okay.
All right, do we have any more questions? I know it's a small group, so it's like, you know, after a few, you're like, okay. Well, I will go ahead and end early. If you have something that you think of later today, I do have, I'll put my, let's see. I'll put my email in the chat just in case you don't have it. So if anything comes up, feel free to message me and email me and let me know. I would encourage you, just if you're, you know, serious about applying, go ahead and just apply early, because we are going to start going through them, and we have the deadline of April 1st. But if you already know that you're going to do it, go ahead and apply early so we can go through those applications.
And you know,
All right.
something that speaks volumes, by the way, is that when you look at these lists, sometimes if a company sees that their employee really enjoyed the program, they have another employee apply for the program the following year. So that also speaks volumes about how someone felt about the program. So,
Yeah.
anyway, you were signing off.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for taking the time to join us today. And like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We can set up some time to discuss more and, you know, have a conversation about that.
Perfect.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
Bye,
you.
y'all.
everyone.
Have a good one.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye.